Hey, welcome to the conversation that's as diverse as the dogs that we adore. This is Gundogs and Guard Dogs, ultimate podcast dedicated to talking sense about dogs with Les Graham and Ross McCarthy. They work with all breeds of dog, but one specialises in Gundogs and the other prefers Guard Dogs. No flashy trends or social media hype here, just tried and true knowledge that stands the test of time. They bring you valuable insights and honest conversations about the social predator you share your home with. So here we go. About 45 minutes of Gundogs, Guard Dogs, good dogs, some maybe not so good dogs, and a dash of gossip.
We find ourselves here again.
I know, and this is a special bonus one, isn't it?
I don't know whether
you only call it a bonus anyway.
I was going to say, I don't know whether people think it's a bonus. Another episode slotted in.
An extra one slotted in, because we were chatting about bull breeds. So what happened is the other day, I came across on Instagram the most really gorgeous video of Tom Hardy, who I think is an absolute dish. But anyway, by the by, Tom Hardy on the floor with this huge bull breed, and I couldn't quite work out what it was. I didn't know if it was like an American bulldog but it was that kind of big bull type, wasn't it? It was with Paul O'Grady on the rescue thing, and he was on the floor with it, and he was cuddling it and stroking it, and I'll tell you what sprung to mind. When we used to do, like, actively do the Put the Camera Down campaign with the Dog Safety Education Executive, which that campaign came about after I saw this lady with her 2-year-old child, the 1.5 to 2, and they'd lost the goldfish. The goldfish had died, and the child was absolutely distraught. Do you remember?
Yes, I remember.
And rather than cuddling the child while she flushed the goldfish down the toilet, she stood there and videoed it. And I was like, as a mum, I was absolutely disgusted that somebody would much rather take a video of their child being distraught over losing a loved pet and get it out on social media for the likes. I mean, this is going back, oh my God, what, 2015 we did it? 2016? Something like that.
Yeah, a long time.
It was a while ago, isn't it? Mm-hmm. But when I saw this video of Tom Hardy, and he was in his element, it was lovely. But it reminded me of that. I can't even remember what breed it was. It was an American bulldog that got the.
I'm not sure if that was a Dogo Argentino. Was it in the States?
It might have been in the States. It might have been.
She was
the dog. It was a real success story, wasn't it? It was like, oh, this dog's amazing. I think it rescued its owner from the river or something. It was a real, rah, the dog's, this is awesome, this dog's wonderful, look, it's rescued its owner. And this bloomin', what do you call them?
News anchor
went in and took the dog's face in a hand and said, aren't you lovely? And everything about the dog was screaming, leave me alone, leave me alone. And she'd completely ignored it. She kept hold of the dog's face and she planted a kiss on its forehead as the dog took off part of her face.
Yeah.
And that, when I watched the Tom Hardy video, that's what it made me think of.
Yeah.
And I just thought, he's awesome. He loves his dogs. He loves his bull breeds. I think it's a Frenchie he's got.
I don't know what he's got.
He's got one of them. And he was really close to the dog that he lost a few years ago, which was wonderful. But I just saw a lot of red flags, because I thought people are going to do just that. They're going to go into a rescue centre. They're going to sit on the floor with these big bull-type breeds, and they're going to he was roughhousing with it.
Yeah.
But all I could see was this news anchor. I was watching him and I was waiting for the bite. Do you know? We wait for the bite, don't we?
Yeah.
We really all know people. We watch something and go, any second now that person's going to lose their face or their nose or their ear or their lip.
Yeah, well, I watched the Tom Hardy clip, and normally, like you said, Tom Hardy can do no wrong as far as I'm concerned. But actually, it's not really down to him, is it? It's the people there. I mean, they're filming at Battersea, weren't they, for Paul O'Grady?
Yeah.
And everything about that, and obviously the dog didn't bite him and all went well and seemed that they were both having a lovely time. But there's such a fine little flip. Do you know what I mean? A fine little turn that can end that picture really differently. And I just think for the staff or whoever's there present filming, whatever, that's a really inappropriate thing to A, allow to happen, and B, to show for other people that that's an example of how you'd engage with a dog that's not even your own. You know, you just wouldn't.
And even I can remember years ago we were teaching, I think it was the first time we taught basic dog handling together, and little Bill was there. And we were demonstrating different techniques. And I was doing sit with Billy. And it was like we showed how to sit with the food, and then it was showing how to sit without food, where you put a little bit of pressure on the rib. And I went to put some pressure on her, and the look on her face, and I just said, I'm not going to do this with this dog because she's not very happy, and if I do, she's going to bite me. And that was it, you know. And and the students were like, oh, we didn't see that. It's like, well, no, but she was going to bite me. She was not happy with what I did. Her eyes went really hard very quickly, and it was like, back off, you know. So I backed off. There's no need to do it. But I saw that clip, and I just thought it would be really good if we had a chat about that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've mentioned to you yesterday in a text message when we were talking about obviously what we were, coming on here today. And I sometimes think that I'm a little bit extreme in my kind of views about safety. And I think that comes from seeing so much go wrong, that when I look at people interacting with dogs, I just often feel quite uncomfortable because they do, particularly that sort of face-to-face contact. I mean, even with students, we do a training day at a rescue centre. So the dogs are unknown, they come out and we have a handling day to gain experience. And the staff know the dogs and everything, and we're careful about the dogs that we choose. But equally, there's a way to behave with a dog that's unfamiliar to you. What you want to do with your own dog in your lounge at night is up to you, within reason. But when you're dealing with other people's dogs and unfamiliar dogs and handling those, it's quite disappointing when you see people like sort of bending right over these dogs, bending right over so your face is next to their face. And it's just, I'm just like, stand up, don't do. But I don't know whether whether I'm too extreme, I take it too far, and I'm too anxious and too overthinking all this stuff. But then on the other hand, it's supported by what we see in the media, what we see at work, what we see through social services things, what we see through the Put the Camera Down campaign. All of that stuff tells me I'm kind of right. But then I look at other people who are much more chilled. I think maybe I'm a bit too.
I don't think you are. I think people are not. I mean, God, I've been saying it for years. It's a social predator that shares a home. We have to respect their communication system. I mean, we did the skit on it, didn't we, years ago, with like, this is how people communicate: chest to chest, eyeball to eyeball. This is how dogs communicate: nose to tail, sniffing muzzles. Not, they don't go in and mob each other. It's like, some people like cuddles and some people don't, and some people are fine. Like myself, I'm happy to give you a hug if I know you, if I invite you in for a hug. But if you touch me and you're not invited, hands off. not quite, but it's very clear. I get really spiky.
Just bristle.
What do you think they were doing touching me? Get your hands off. And dogs are the same. I think it's and likewise, like when you have children, I can remember when Callum was little, when we went to Turkey, and little blonde-haired, blue-eyed boy who was thanking everybody in Turkish, or I think it's Turkish, and they thought it was great. No one just stroked his head. And we were like, oh my God, don't stroke my child. But they were just fascinated with this blonde hair, blue-eyed boy, But I think people feel because they want to stroke a dog or kiss a dog, because we kiss things that we love, don't we? We just want to give them kisses.
You do.
But we shouldn't be doing it with a different species. We definitely shouldn't be doing it with a species that we don't know, that is not familiar with our smell.
No.
or anything else about us.
It's interesting actually because I saw yesterday. I don't know whether you saw it on. So I think you did because I might have sent it to you. Rob Allain shared a post. I think it was a chow in the
No,
street. You didn't see it.
I can't see Rob Lynn's posts. He's blocked me.
Oh, I see. I think I sent you a link, but I don't know if it was to his post. But there was this chow in the street, and this woman's gone down and
I saw it. It wasn't Rob Lynn. I saw it.
hugged it and kissed it, and
She
obviously,
had an umbrella, didn't she?
yeah, and it's bit in her face. And perhaps obviously, I was going to say obviously it's bit in her face, and some dogs wouldn't. But I mean, what gives you? Why would you think? What gives you the right to go and touch that dog, my dog, anybody else's dog? What gives you the right to go and do that and engage in such an inappropriate way with the dog? And of course, then the dog, of course, it's the dog's fault then, isn't it? Because it's, an aggressive dog that's bitten her. Actually, it's a nice dog sitting on the street, minding its own business.
When you come put your face in
yeah, you've just been.
You expect?
It's awful, but that's people, isn't it? And it's very difficult because I don't know how.
Rachel Bean put a good one out the other day as well. I put it on my Facebook page where it was. She said it was a street dog, but it actually had a collar on. So I don't know if it's a street dog or just a wandering dog. It was lying there with another dog minding its own business. This guy walked over, stroked it, and it took a chunk, grabbed his leg.
Yeah, saw that. Yeah.
Let sleeping dogs lie with. I think I don't know what's gone wrong over the last probably 10 years. Well, I do probably social media. Dressing dogs, anything for hate. But there's a lack of appreciation of the dog being a social predator. I mean, we've interviewed Jonathan from Honeys, and we were talking about raw feeding. But I think, to me, all you have to do is look in your dog's mouth, and it should be it's got carnivore teeth. It should be eating raw meat. And likewise, if you look in the dog's mouth, all you have to do is look in the dog's mouth to know that it's a social predator, and social predators bite.
Yeah.
And so why are we treating them like little furry babies?
No. Well, you using that example about Bill earlier. I mean, she was, my Pomeranian, wasn't she? Very confident dog that came to me having displayed aggression to people in the past and whatever. But she was a little cute, fluffy looking dog. But equally, she's a confident,
Get your hands off me, dog.
Yeah, just a confident dog. Don't, if you're going to give me a bit of food, give me a bit of food. That's fine. If you're going to think you're going to start mucking about and fiddling about with this, that, and the other, then you're wrong. But it's understanding that, isn't it? It's reading the dog, and actually, just because she's looks cute, doesn't give people the right to come and touch her in the street and do what they want to do, or pick her up and put her on their laps, and all the strange things that people do. It's all disrespectful.
It really is. And one of our friends came round when we first moved to Scotland. He came round and I turned around and he was holding Spud like a cat. And it's like, why have you got Spud in your arms? He's a dog.
What are you doing?
Put him down. Oh, well, he's so cute. I want him to pick him up. It's like, put my dog down.
Yeah.
Put him down. He's not a cat. Put him down. He doesn't need to be picked up.
He's not cute. He's a working gun dog. He's not cute.
He's a working dog. Get your hands off. But I think it's really difficult, and I don't think it bodes well for our dogs that people aren't respecting them as a different species. I think, the XL bullies getting added to the dangerous dog list as at the end of this year, although how on earth they're going to be able to do that when they haven't even typed it. Typed as in, if anybody who's listening, if anybody's listening to us, if anybody's still with us in our rant, it's called typing, where you look at a dog and you work out the angulation of the different joints and shoulders, angulation of face, and it's called typing. You're working out the type of dog, so it's going back,
because it's not a breed. You can't do kind of genetic testing and whatever, so it has to just be down to a type,
and which is really awful because I've had dogs go past here and they'll be like a Mastiff Boxer cross or a Mastiff or a Boxer Staffy cross, and you're going, is it? Is it, is it a pit bull type? Is it not? And you'll be driving along and there's a white boxer cross around here, and there's a couple of times I've done a double take because its face, you look at it and it goes, could be a boxer, but its face is very angular.
Yeah.
You think, have a look at the ears. But I don't understand how, given that it is now the middle of October, they want to ban the breed by the end of the year, they're going to actually have sufficient information from the XL bully people in the States to be able to work out the conformation, the angulation, and come up with a definitive type for that particular dog. I don't know how they can do it.
I don't know. I'm sure they will. They'll rush it through and screw it up like they did with the original Dangerous Dogs Act in '91. I'm really amazed. I cannot believe that they've added another breed. I know they have to do something. The XL bully fatalities are off the charts, and it's ridiculous. So someone has to do something or be seen to be doing something, obviously. But adding another dog to a law that already doesn't work seems bizarre.
It's quite spectacularly filled, hasn't it? And
massive.
The thing is, they'll just pick another breed, and there needs to be, to me, this is like shutting the stable door after the horse has bolted. You need something in place to educate and to teach, and I think there should be some sort of legislation, but I don't think banning the breed is right.
No, I think there should be legislation. I mean, I do think that, I think I've mentioned to you previously, my idea would be to have, if you want to own a breed of dog, you have to do a test. Like if you want to drive a car, you have to prove you're competent. And if you want to own a Cavalier King Charles Spaniel, you do one test. If you think you're going to own an XL bully, then you do a whole nother test, and you need to be a whole nother level of clued up about how you manage these dogs in your own environment, along with your children, your guests, how you manage them in public parks, park etiquette, which we've discussed previously. How you manage these dogs and live with them is not how you manage your Cavalier King Charles Spaniel or your Cockapoo or your mixed breed or whatever it is. It's a completely different ballgame. And I think that's where it goes ridiculously wrong, because people don't know what they've got until they find out. Do you know what I mean? They don't see the dangers. I mean, I know in my home, I've got 3 Rottweilers. They're big, strong, powerful dogs. You have to be really careful with what people, because the damage that they can inflict is so immense. Do you know what I mean?
Not even with their teeth.
Not even with their teeth.
Taking that teeth out of the equation.
Yeah.
A rot. I mean, because I know with the labs, if they turn quickly and they hip slam you, that's a broken leg.
Yeah. No, exactly. Well, come into my house. If they like you, that's bad enough. Do you know what I mean?
God, it's with the feet.
Yeah, if they like you get, yeah. But no, but you have to realise, and like I said, sometimes I think I go a little bit overkill, because I am very mindful of what people are doing and what interaction people have in my home with my dogs, because I've seen everything go wrong so many times. But I just think people they take it all on face value. The dog's sweet. Look at it. It likes having its head tickled. And they just, treat these dogs completely inappropriately. I mean, seen a couple of people doing interviews on the news, and they're typical people that you wouldn't want representing. If I was an XL bully owner, I wouldn't want these people representing me. They've got these great big dogs on the sofa with their little kids. That's not, and there's all the dogs lovely and this, and anybody looking at it, you think, yeah, well, they probably should be banned. That's just, looking at that, you just think, God, this is just. And a lot of them are fine, aren't they? But
well, they are. But I mean, big dogs, little babies don't really go together. And I can, God, when I was down south, still when I was in Englandshire, there was a incident where the woman, and I can't remember how long ago it was. We were dealing a lot with communications, the CWU at the time, with the post office and everything. And a woman came running out screaming that her dog had killed a child. And so everyone assumed it was like an aggression attack, but the dog had sat on the child and suffocated it.
Yeah.
And so we're talking dogs biting at the minute, but actually there's this whole other world that dogs can injure. If a dog hip slammed an old person, with osteoporosis, then that's it, they're done. Jumping on children, clawing faces. A dog's claws are disgusting. Dog bites generally, I think it's something like it's either 7 or 8 out of 10 dog bites will get infected, seriously infected. And so you then have all of the after treatment from a bite, draining the infection. People just don't.
Even if you said, what you've got, like a 50, 60 kilo XL bully running down the hallway because someone's knocked on the front door, that would take you out, wouldn't it? Let alone a toddler or whatever else. If it's not managed, that the sheer physical power of that running into you could cause serious injury.
There was, I haven't got all the stats in front of me. I wrote them up the other day in relation to lead walking, but there was a study done a couple of years ago in one of the Hastings hospitals in relation to injuries, not just bites, but there was bites, being pulled over by a dog, pulling on the lead, and it was like 22% of them, 22% of the dog-related injuries over a 2-month period were purely down to lead walking issues, and that's just the strength of dog. That's not that's not when we start looking at like naughty dogs. So if you went over to stroke a dog, say for example, hello Dante, you went over to stroke a dog, you put your head down, even if the dog didn't bite you, but if it got up quickly, then there goes your nose.
Yeah, I know.
I must admit, I was very tempted to when I forwarded that Instagram, when it came up, reply to Tom Hardy, and it was like, I am tempted to, because he's gorgeous, but actually tempted to say, actually, this is a really lovely video, but do you realise?
Yeah.
You're putting people at risk.
I know. I just, like I said a minute ago, I find it when people engage with dog, I find it really disrespectful to the owners, or disrespectful to me as an owner when people engage inappropriately, and I find it really disrespectful to the species that the dogs are. They're just not these fur babies, are they? That people, and I just find that grossly unkind, that people think that treating a dog like a person or a child is fair and kind. It's not. Treating a dog like a dog is fair and kind. Definitely.
Yeah, it is definitely. So after our little rant, ranting,
we do like a rant, don't we? We do
like a rant. I haven't had a rant since we were the blonde leading the blonde.
Doesn't take much to get us started, does it?
Well, we've seen a lot of aggression. God, between us, we've seen like some pretty horrific aggression cases that have ended up with the dogs being destroyed. Do you remember that Labrador that I sent you to? Because I wasn't well.
That black lab in Wiltshire.
The one that you couldn't get into the kitchen with. I had to turn the gas from the mains. So
it's ringing a bell. It's a long time ago.
Oh God, okay. So I'd worked with a couple of spaniels down in Salisbury, and one I had to say needed to be destroyed, and the other one I kind of took the owner to task and we sorted it out. But then their friend had a Labrador who was really aggressive, and they said, talk to Les, she'll, one way or another, she will help you deal with it. And I was due to go and see them, and I was really ill, and I contacted you and said, this is quite an urgent case, are you able to go down to Salisbury for the day and sort this dog out? And you turned up and the dog was locked in the kitchen, because it was in the kitchen, they were put the dinner on, it was in the kitchen, and the dog became resource guarding, and they couldn't get in the kitchen to turn the oven off, so they had to go out to the mains gas outside and actually turn the gas off because they couldn't get in the kitchen to turn the cooker off.
Yeah.
And you had to go and deal with it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the type of aggression that we work with. And when you see that, you just think, God, don't put yourself at risk.
You do. You see, I think there's lots of cases because, like I said, I do get quite concerned that I'm a little bit ridiculous with this safety aspect. But I remember you sent me another client that's just come to mind with golden retriever bitch somewhere near Marlborough in Wiltshire.
Yeah.
And that was real strange. And I can't remember whether it was aggression directed to people or dogs. I think possibly the other dog in the house, but it was a real, very high level, very intense, irrational kind of aggression. It wasn't over resources. It wasn't over sort of status or position. It was just an all-out attack episodically. And I think when you see cases like this, that it doesn't all just fit in a box. You don't either have an aggressive dog or a non-aggressive dog. All dogs are capable of being a dog.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite little sayings is, what is a dog capable? What is, a dog's likely behavior? Anything that it's capable of doing. You only need the right circumstances. Just because your dog's never bitten anybody or growled at anybody, if someone pokes it in the eye, then maybe it will that time. And it's I don't know where I was going with that.
No, I don't know either, but it was a good story.
Yeah, no, I've come to the end of that. But yeah, no, they're capable of doing whatever, aren't they? Yeah, completely gone blank.
But I think dogs, the bottom line is they're sentient beings.
Yes.
They're not robots, they're sentient beings. They can have a bad day. You can run them, like, I'm thinking of a situation at Waitrose where people tie the dogs up and then women come out with buggies and hit the dogs with them and by accident.
Yeah.
But in that instance, the kid in the buggy could lose its face.
Yeah.
It might be a wonderful dog, might be a really lovely soft dog, but if it's asleep and you run over its tail, it's going to react.
And how do you know your dog hasn't got a headache today or it's got a stomach ache? You don't know that, do you? I mean, as an owner, we can observe and think, it's not quite 100%. But they can't explain, actually, do you know what, I feel really rough today, so just leave me alone. I don't want to go for a walk. You don't have that. So you don't know how they're going to be on a given day. And I suppose most dogs, most of the time, fit into society and rub along quite well. But it's we get to deal with, people don't say, come around and see my lovely dog, do they? So it does alter your view when you go into people's homes and all the dogs are aggressive. It does somewhat affect your view, because when I go into homes now, if I'm not for work and see, a friend or whatever, and there's a dog in the house, I'm not relaxed and think, lovely, look, lovely dog. In my head, I'm like, okay, where's the dog? What's it doing? Don't touch it. Don't, because that's what you do, isn't it?
But then people, when you go and see them, like from a social perspective, it's like, why aren't you stroking my dog?
Yeah.
Why would I want to stroke your dog?
Yeah. No.
Your dog, it doesn't need me to stroke it.
No.
I mean, that's why I really got into Gundog training, because that was my bit of light relief.
Yes.
I meant I was working with dogs that were nice. Well, initially they were all delinquents that I worked with, but then as my Gundog training took off, I was working with nice dogs, and it was my bit of relief.
We do. I mean, I'm lucky. I mean, we did, like you said, through courses and things, I get to meet loads of lovely dogs. I mean, I love dogs, obviously, that's why we do this job, isn't it? And I meet some fantastic dogs. But equally, on the other side of the coin, we meet some that are not. And I think the expectations, like, there's a lady in my local park, she's got some kind of pit bull type young dog, male entire, that just runs around everywhere. And I know that when that comes to maturity, unless she has it neutered or whatever, it's not going to be a nice social friendly dog, because inherently, in the majority of those dogs, they're not particularly dog friendly, particularly to dogs of the same gender and same sexual status, whatever. And people are just irresponsible, aren't they? That's the end of it, really.
So how should we be? Oh, sorry, I must have
Just run over your dog's tail.
No, I didn't cross my legs, and his head was under the foot.
Oh,
So how should we be approaching dogs then? So you walk down the street and you see a dog. What do?
pretend it's not there.
Pretend
Ignore
to keep walking. But if you did want to stroke somebody's dog, what would you do?
Pretend it's not.
Oh.
Ignore it. You could ask, couldn't you? Which would be a polite thing to do. Can I say hello to your dog? But when people say to you, I mean, I think I've said to you. I remember ages ago, I took one of my dogs to the pub when she was young, and I don't often, to be fair. I take the dogs to the pub as puppies or whatever, but I don't take the dogs to the pub typically. Anyway, took her into the pub, and a woman came past and she said, "Can I say hello to your dog?" And normally my answer would be no, but for some reason, on that occasion, I just said, "Yeah, right." And she grabbed hold of, patted her on the head, grabbed hold of. I was like, no. You said, "Can I say hello?" Not can I like physically abuse your dog. Don't know what people are going to do you?
No.
Can I say hello? You can say hello, but keep your hands to yourself.
One of the girls, I think it was Jodie in the last workshop that came up. She's got a cute little spaniel, lovely little working cocker, and she was having to kind of guard this dog to stop people getting near it.
Yeah,
literally, people were running across the bar to go and stroke the dogs, and they had the students had people watching, like on watch duty for the dogs, make sure nobody touched them.
It's ridiculous. I mean, when I see a dog occasionally, like in the pub, I'll look at the dog. I think that looks lovely. Do you know what I mean? I think, oh, how lovely. And that's as far as it goes. And I might want to go over and give it a stroke, but I don't. I just think, leave it alone. The same with puppies. I see a cute little puppy or whatever. Leave it alone. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
I had one with Dante actually over the summer. I went to Châtellerault, however it is you pronounce it, Outdoor Market on a Sunday morning. I took Dante and I wanted to get some bread from rustic bread. And there was this post, like a wall post sitting there, and I thought, nice, Danny, up he gets. I put him up, put him in a sit state on this post, singing, he's out of the way. Going to turn my back, get my bread, turn around, there's this guy giving him a hug. It's like, what are you doing?
No, I can't bear
it. Dante was...
See, I mean, that could have been so different, couldn't it? I mean, that is just...
He's a big lad.
People are so thick, aren't they? I don't know, just so... And then they'd say to you, well, why have you, if he...
Why have you got your dog with you if you're going to bite me?
Yeah, why can't, you shouldn't have your dog here if I can't do what I want to do and give him a hug. It's, I don't
know. and actually, trainers can be just as bad. I can remember competing Bart in New Zealand, and I was just about to go on the ring. I turned around, I heard, and I looked down at the trainer. There was another competitor feeding my dog a banana.
A banana, of all things.
What are you doing? Oh, he was really interested in it. I don't give a flying. You're not going to feed my dog.
I know. I can't bear it. I see people in the park, like owners, they give a lot of the dogs will run to other owners that they know because they're going to get a treat. Why would you create that kind of...
I would just break everybody else's record.
Yeah, why would you...
Just for the hell of it.
People, oh, can I give your dog a treat? No, actually, there's nice expensive food at home. Doesn't need your kibble. Thank you.
No, off you.
Off your jog. Yes. So I don't really know what the answer is, do you?
I think education should be at school. I remember I went into a couple of schools. Completely embarrassed Callum going into the law class when he was 16, talking about the Dangerous Dog Act.
Oh dear,
and then there was you went in with the littlies, didn't we, to teach them how to approach a dog, how to stroke the dog. I think we need more of that. I think but actually get the parents in as well, not just the children. I think the parents and the children need to go in I think we need to bring back a substantial license. I mean, last time I bought a license, it was 27.5 pence from the post office.
Yeah.
So
The problem is with everything, though, is because I agree with you. I think education, like we said when we were doing a lot with Dog Safety Education Executive, education, not legislation, because legislation always affects kind of after the event, whereas education hopefully prevents incidents.
we haven't got the resources to hold people accountable, have we?
No, and the people that need the education are not wanting to be educated. So you're kind of stuck in and I think, again, if you bring in a dog license, I would go and pay a dog license, another expense, but other people won't.
And you see, we need a visual. So in New Zealand, the dogs there were these plastic, like cable ties, quite thick cable ties, and there were different colours each year, and they were printed with a number on it. So every year you had to go and buy a cable tie for your license.
Mm-hmm.
You had it on your dog's collar, and there was dog wardens. I mean, we haven't got dog wardens. We haven't got
them.
The dog legislation officers are on the decline. So, but if we had the resources, we had something very noticeable on the dog's collar, like a bright red cable tie on it, you can see straight away that the dog's been licensed and that the owners have attended a class.
You can, but the trouble is, again, I mean, even like the police, not the dog handlers, but the other police officers or whatever, are not that au fait with the Dangerous Dogs Act. So actually, when I'm driving down, you're not allowed in the UK. You're not allowed to crop a dog's ears, right? There's loads of all the XL bullies and whatever have cropped ears. You see that walking down the street. Owning a pit bull terrier has been illegal for how long is 91? 30 years or something ridiculous.
Yeah,
it's one on every street corner. So actually, whether they've got a blue tag or a red tag on them, I think it's the last. Do you know what I mean? If you can't spot a pit bull, then what you're looking for? This
is true. This is true.
It's really hard. It's
quite depressing, really, isn't it?
I honestly, it is depressing because I don't really think. Well, I don't know what can be. I'm just not sure there can be anything done. Yes, you can ban a breed. Yes, you can ban another breed after that, and then people can create another breed. Does that affect anything apart from the lovely, decent owners of XL bullies and whatever other breed that are going to be absolutely devastated by complying with whatever legislation? Does that affect anything else, really?
I mean, this is the thing. Well, then, so that you're not targeting the responsible owners or the well-bred bullies, are you then looking down? Because it's Kimbo, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Kimbo's the XL bully. So
yeah.
that, I think they said something like 50% of the XL bullies in the UK come through the Kimbo line, who is known to be particularly aggressive.
Yeah.
But in the States, they're looking at the genetics rather than the breed. And so they're looking at the line, they're looking at the Kimbo line and trying to deal with that rather than dealing with all the XL bullies. And I think that might be the way forward, It
makes more sense, doesn't it?
It makes more sense. I can remember Moss, the mighty Moss.
Yeah.
His sire was tardacked all the time because he was too aggressive. And so what he did was when he wanted a bit of money, he would stop the tardack, get him out there, put him to stud, put him back on tardack. So he's a real resource guard. I used to go wild on the car. When we found out this dog had been killed by a car, me and Darren cheered. I said, thank God that's the line gone. You know? And so I think that's the solution. I think you have to try and figure out where the lines are.
I think the response I think probably the answer is that some kind of proper legislation needs to be in place for who can breed dogs, who can breed, buy and sell dogs, because most responsible breeders across, in any UK pedigree dog breed responsible breeders are selecting their dogs not only through the aesthetic appearance, but equally the temperament of the
Improving
dog
the
as
life.
well. Yeah, they want to improve. That's what they
But
do. They're passionate about it.
you've just said that magic word.
I know. Responsible.
Responsible.
But there needs to be some legislation. I know you can't. I mean, if you've got two dogs in the house and one's male and one's female, and they, mate, and then have a litter, I realise you've got puppies that you've got to do something with. But people shouldn't be allowed to breed and sell dogs as they are.
But who is gonna hold people accountable? It comes back down to responsibility and accountability. So the Kennel Club should breed a scheme. Okay, so that's kind of not really working.
That's not working.
And then we had the trainer who was a bloomin' puppy farm, a celebrity trainer, puppy farmer. All her puppies were being registered. How was she allowed to register all of these pedigree puppies?
Yeah,
there should have been alarm bells to the Kennel Club that she was a puppy farmer.
Yeah, no, there's nothing going on. And the council breeding licenses, they're not fit for purpose either. There just needs to be something that's policed and, well, I don't know. I think
there's another magic word.
Yeah, I know.
Police. Where's the police?
Yeah, no, I know. No, it's easier, I suppose, just to ban a breed. No, there are no resources. No. So no, we've talked. I thought we had the answer there. We've come back round to nothing can be done.
We were doing well when we were talking about like responsible breeders and responsible dog ownership, which there are many. Like there are so many responsible breeders out there.
Yeah,
there really are. There are so many responsible dog owners out there, but there are also unscrupulous breeders and owners who don't give a toss.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, as often happens, it's the minority impacting the majority, and the majority having to change for the minority. And I don't know what the answer is.
No.
Other than chuck in a bonus episode now and again, have a really good rant about it.
Yeah, well, it gets it off our chest, doesn't it? But I don't think. I mean, watch this space, won't we? But I don't think, based on that, there is really kind of anything. Because if you're relying on people to be responsible and you're relying on people to police, laws, rules, whatever, then forget it.
That was very depressing, wasn't it?
That was depressing. Not a very hopeful outcome ending of our chat, is it?
Not really, but very realistic. Not covered in sparkly fairy dust or anything.
No,
just being very realistic about what's going on with dogs at the minute, and bit of an insight, I suppose.
Yeah. No, it is, and it's really. I think it's really sad for dogs, and really quite sad for dog owners, really, because it's not, not easy owning dogs, is it really?
No, and I don't think social media is helping.
No,
I think social media has been very, very detrimental to the quality of a dog's life.
Yeah. No, I do, and that and the breeding for money, aside from everything like breeding Merle French bulldogs, and the XLBs and that stuff. Yeah, and that people are paying $2,000 to $7,000 or more, and it's it's just
Labrador.
Yeah, where the coat's all falling out. It's not ethical, but that's people, isn't it? Irresponsible people.
Shall we cue the music?
Let's listen to some music.
Thanks for listening. It's not just Gundogs and not just guard dogs, but all things canine, as we hope you have discovered. Please like, share and subscribe, and help us spread a bit of common sense back into dog ownership. And a review wouldn't go amiss either. Catch up with Les and Ross again in about 14 days for more canine conversations. Until next time, stay well and enjoy your dogs. Any dog-related questions or topics, just drop an email to talk@cfba.uk or message us via facebook.com/Gundogs and Guard Dogs podcast.